What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to another video. My name is Mike Angelo. We are here to learn how to cut hair, so we're going to be breaking it down step by step. On this video, we're going to be doing a low to mid fade, keeping the parietal ridge a little dark. So tune in as we break it down step by step. The first step that I do, I grab the number 4 guard with the lever closed. We're going to be running it on the top first, going to the crown on the back area. I got the comb on my left hand side, kind of to keep the hair away from the guard, that way I don't cut too much. He did request the front to be a little longer, so we're gonna later on go back with the shears and trim that down a little bit. We're gonna jump into the number 3 guard. As you see, we are going underneath the parietal ridge. We're using the number 3 guard as a foundation, that way we don't go too high up, that way we can keep that parietal ridge a little dark. So I do that on both sides, and make sure you run it a couple times, that way there's no hair sticking out. And use your comb to comb it back down, and get all the hairs that is left. Another request that my client asked is to run a number 1 guard running the hairline. The reason why he requested this is sometimes he has like a bushy hairline, so we run it with the number 1 guard, and then that way at the end we can go back and line it up with the trimmer, that way it can be a little bit more crispy. So here we are, we're gonna jump into the front. The first thing that I do, I grab the water bottle, I damp the hair a little bit. We're only gonna be taking off about a half an inch from the front. This is a Chicano style, this is how they rock it, this is what he likes, so we just do our best to give the best results for the customer. So what I do, I always start right in the front. This is called a travel guide, so I start on the front and then I work my way to my right hand side, make sure both sides are even, and then I finish it off on his left hand side to make sure the front is completely even. Our next step is going to be using the trimmer to create a bald guideline, that way we can start to fade. So where I start right in the temple. I make a line from the temple, running it back to the occipital bone, and then I use a trimmer to eliminate the rest of the hair that's left below. Whenever you do this step, you have to make sure that the trimmer cuts absolutely everything, because our following step is going to be using the electric shaver, but in this case we're going to be using the razor. Sometimes clients request a razor, so if they do request it, I use hot leather kind of to soften up the skin and the hair follicles. That way when I use the razor, it can be a nice shave all the way down. So I apply this, make sure I kind of rotate it back and forth, create and soften up the hair follicles, and then I grab a clean razor. I make sure that I pull the skin up, and then I use the straight razor going down. Whenever you guys are doing this step, you guys can use hot leather or clear shaving gel, whatever is more comfortable for you. I like the hot leather because it's a warm feel for the client. They always enjoy it, and it also creates the hair follicles a little bit softer, that way the shave is a lot more smooth. So it's up. So once we are done using the electric shaver or the straight razor, our next step is to create our guideline using the lever open with no guard. That way we start to blend up. So I go up about 1 inch from the temple area back to the occipital bone. I want to make sure that I keep it consistent. The more consistent the guidelines, the more consistent the fade will be. So once you set that guideline, our next step is to eliminate it or to erase it. So you open and close the lever from the front all the way down to the back, where you set the guideline all the way until it's completely erased. We are going to be jumping into the number 1 guard. We have the lever closed, and we're going to be setting the same width that we did previously. We're going up about 1 inch, and we're starting from the temple, working our way back to the occipital bone. Remember guys, the neater the guidelines, the neater the fade will be. So once you set that guideline, we're going to jump into the half guard to erase that line. So whenever you guys erase lines after you set the guideline, you have to make sure that you start flicking out. So opening and closing the lever while flicking out on the wrist will completely erase that line. So here's where it gets a little bit tricky because we are using the 1.5 guard to blend up to the number 3. Remember that we want to keep the parotid ridge dark. That was his request. So in order to do that, we have the 1.5 guard with the lever open, and we are flicking out into the number 3. So we are skipping the number 2 guard and we're flicking out. As you can see right here, you can see the motion on my wrist. We're not really applying that guideline. I'm just really flicking out. It takes practice, but I know you guys can do this. And then once you're done with that step, our next step is to erase that line. So we're gonna jump down a guard and come back down to the number 1 guard. I have the lever open and I'm flicking it into that number 1.5 guard. In order to completely erase the line, you have to open and close the lever. Kind of just play with it. Do a lot of trial and error. You don't want to go up too high, because then you're gonna accidentally create a line, and you just want to make sure that you're flicking out, closing the lever. So because I do have the number 1 guard in my hand, I want to be efficient with my time, so I went ahead and blend out the beard. So when I do blend the beard, I always start with the lever open and I slowly close it, working my way up, and then I grab the number 1 guard that I had in my hand and I completely finish off the blend right there in the beard. Once we are done blending out the beard, I always gotta go back and detail the haircut. So whenever you detail the haircut, you gotta make sure that you look back at the mirror. If you see lines in the mirror, the client sees lines in the mirror. So always look back, make sure you target any lines that you left behind, maybe some dark spots, and open and closing the lever. If you have to jump back up to the half guard to erase a line, go right ahead. This is when you do a lot of trial and error, opening and closing the lever to completely make this haircut completely fresh. So this is the final result, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe as we are dropping more content. So that is my time. My name is Mike Angelo. You guys have a good day. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.